Senator Peters.
Thank you, Chairman Hoeven, and thank you for talking about infant formula and talking about our bill specifically, and thank you for eliciting a response from our witness that we both really appreciate. So thank you for doing that. Dr. McCary, when I was chair of Homeland Security and Government Affairs, we did a study looking at persistent drug shortages throughout the country. And found that a lot of it is because we're over-reliant on foreign sources for those supplies, and many of the precursors, as you know, are all overseas. And in fact, in that study, when I put it out, I said it's pretty clear based on these challenges with the supply chain that when there is a pandemic, we're going to find ourselves in a very difficult position. 6 months later, that academic study became reality as we dealt with the pandemic, and certainly saw that we had highly efficient supply chains, but they were not resilient. And I remain concerned that the FDA does not have the visibility it needs into essential medicine supply chains, from the key ingredients needed for manufacturing our drug products to the distribution to the patients in hospitals and pharmacies. And these blind spots clearly limit our ability to accurately assess national security risk, including our over-dependence on China in particular for many critical inputs. So last week, I reintroduced the MAPS Act with several of my bipartisan colleagues, which would address this critical gap by requiring HHS through public-private partnerships to essentially map out the medical supply chains using data analysis and to assess all the threats and vulnerabilities. So my question for you is, do you agree that this is a significant concern? And if so, will you commit to work when we pass this legislation to make this a reality?
Senator Peters, I love this topic. It's so important. I'm glad you're raising it. I've written about it in a book in 2019. I've written about it in the Journal of the American Medical Association. I felt like no one has been paying attention. I warned about exactly what happened at the beginning of COVID, and it happened. So I am totally aligned with you that this is an important issue. I think there are root causes that we've not been talking about that we need to talk about. I mean, we can get out a ruler and map out the supply chains, and I'm not opposed to that exercise, but the underlying problem is that manufacturing has moved overseas. And it's not just one or two things. It is most of what we use in anesthesia to perform surgery. It is most antibiotics. It is most of these cutting-edge therapies. It is the vast majority of generic drugs. And so I totally am in support of President Trump's agenda here to bring manufacturing back to the United States. And we've already had a tremendous amount of success. There are companies announcing moving manufacturing in the United States. We're creating incentives. We're removing regulation. And this is a national security issue. So I am 100% with you on this.
Very good. In April, FDA reported suspending programs to improve testing for potential bird flu virus contamination of milk, cheese, and pet food because of the mass layoffs that occurred. We know that the bird flu virus can kill pets who eat contaminated raw pet food, and it can pose a real danger to humans who also consume unpasteurized dairy products. As you know, the more people and animals who get infected with bird flu, the more opportunities there are for the virus to mutate. And I'm really worried that we only may be a couple, and it's not just me, others are worried that there may be a couple of mutations away from having another potentially pandemic. So my question for you, sir, is with the continued spread of bird flu in the country and the significant personnel disruptions at FDA food safety programs, could you tell me and the committee specifically what the FDA is currently doing to ensure our food is free from bird flu contamination?
Well, first of all, that story was debunked by the Washington Post. It was the normal procurement pause to recalibrate the equipment. And so when that happened, people who were trying to make us look bad, sometimes internally, sometimes externally, said, aha, there were layoffs, and there's a pause in some of the milk inspection, and therefore the cuts may have been related to this or were related to this, and that's going to affect food safety. No, it was a normally scheduled pause to recalibrate equipment. It went through its normal schedule, and it is back up and running, and it's normally done to recalibrate the equipment. The cuts were to 380 communications people. What's the right number of communications people for the FDA? Not 380. 125 travel coordinators, 13 strategy offices, 2,600 HR people and budget and procurement people. So, I mean, are we not supposed to address some of this redundancy?
My question is, what exactly are you doing to safeguard our food supply and to safeguard the people from bird flu? So that was the question. I think you're prepared for a different question, and you gave the answer to the different question. But the question is specifically what you're doing.
You
Please.
suggested the cuts increased our risk of bird flu, and I firmly reject that. That's not true, and the inspection trains are running on time.
I think I said personnel disruptions. So
there's no personnel disruptions involved.
There are no personnel disruptions.
Calibration facility that was written about.
So there are no personnel disruptions related to your work on bird flu? Is that what you're telling this committee?
What I'm saying is the
Really?
story that you referenced was saying that our milk calibration facility paused because
I don't
of
remember
disruptions.
I don't think I cited a particular article. I don't know where. Obviously, you're prepared for a question that I didn't ask.
No,
that's
I mean
fine.
you referenced.
You probably gave a good answer to a question that I didn't ask, and so that shows you were prepped for it. I'm asking you, what are you doing about bird flu? Just answer that, please. Don't give me a runaround about other stuff.
We're doing a lot on bird flu.
Don't use your prepared talking points. Tell me, what are you doing to help us and protect the American people from bird flu? Please tell me that.
We're doing a lot on bird flu.
Please tell me that. That's what I hear.
So, look, when there is an antigenic shift that represents a epidemic threat, when there is human-to-human transmission, that strain that is involved in that human-to-human transition is the strain that we should be using to base any potential future vaccines. And in the interim, as I said in my opening comments, delivering on a universal flu shot is one of our top goals, and there are 2 universal flu shots that are in development, and we are not in a receive-only mode with those developers. We are actively trying to partner with those individuals because it may be that you could come in for a single a single influenza vaccine or a 2-dose strategy or something like that, and be immune for life against multiple different variants of influenza, including bird flu. And so early preclinical data in animal studies has shown some promise that a universal flu shot using a traditional vaccine platform can actually create antibodies to the current strain of bird flu. The question, of course, is, and I think this is really what you're getting at, is if we have a bird flu epidemic or even an outbreak in a human-to-human fashion, what strain is that going to be? Because one thing we know for sure is it's not going to be the strain that's circulating right now in millions of birds. So it is a huge priority for us, Senator.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.